You know, folks, if Battle for Angel Island, which just recently came out as part of issue 9 of the IDW Sonic comic, if that wasn't the crescendo, the culmination of what everybody has been speculating since the beginning, isn't evidence enough that IDW and mostly Ian Flynn and those in charge have basically used the first 9 issues and probably the first 12 issues as a way of trying to keep the status quo of the Archie Sonic comic book legacy alive and familiarity alive. I don't know what is. Because basically, that's what we got here. That is basically what we got. The reason I bring this up is because I just recently watched True Blue reviews of MegaBeatMan in his review of issue 9. And even though, and he has a right to his opinion, even though Matt, MegaBeatMan, enjoyed this beginning of this 4-part arc, you could pretty much tell that at the end, if you watched his review, you could pretty much tell that he was uneasy in what he was about to say. He was uneasy. He was uneasy in what he was about to say because, quite honestly, what he saw there in his comparison is pretty much the truth. I think, Matt, with all due respect, because I've been a fan of yours for years, I enjoy your reviews, but I think, honestly, you finally saw what a lot of us have seen and been pointing out. That despite certain differences and different personality quirks here and there, all these first 9 and probably first 12 issues have been is nothing more than a carbon copy of what we've had in Archie comics. That's all it is. Especially now that you got Angel Island, the Battle of Angel Island story arc. I mean, when I saw one of the first covers to this, I was like, seriously? This is nothing more than Panic in the Sky, and if not, Worlds Unite, but it's a carbon copy. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's all it ever was. And probably all it ever will be. And if someone like MegaBeatMan, and just the uneasiness, in my opinion, that I heard in his voice when he made those comparisons, if he can already see it, then here's a question that I've been asking before and everybody else has been asking. You have the characters of Sally Acorn, Bunny Rabbit, Antoine Roeder, Dulcie, all of them in the palm of your hand. You've pretty much come out and said yourself that the door is open. You pretty much know that one of the head people at Sonic Team of Japan is a fan of these characters. You probably have already found out, and if not heard of, the fact that Sonic SatAM has been renewed for another 2 years, and 3 months on Starz Encore On Demand. You probably know the fact that we have a movie coming out in 2019, and yet, instead of capitalizing on the first 2, if not all 3 of them, knowing maybe the Sonic movie could have cameos or references to these freedom fighters, instead you decide to go a route that you want to go to appeal to the more gaming audience, the more gaming fans. Well, I'll tell you this. That's great. If you want to go that direction, that's fine. But what you're doing is you're pretty much alienating the fans that brought you to the dance. You're pretty much alienating those fans. You're pretty much spitting in their faces because what you're doing is you're basically doing a carbon copy of a story. Like I was saying, you're basically alienating and spitting in the fans to help bring you to the dance. If it wasn't for the fans, Archie Comics, even after they lost the license, If it wasn't for the fans supporting the Archie Comics version, IDW probably wouldn't have decided to pick it up. And yet you're alienating those longtime fans by saying, hey, we're going to focus on the gaming fans. And like I said, fine, if you want to do that, more power to you. But but there's an old saying of, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget your roots. And right now it seems like you guys are doing that. Because like I said, even if you're appealing to those gaming fans, by now, just by reading the Archie comics, they probably reading the Archie comics or hearing what people have had to say, maybe skimming through some of the comics due to online shops, maybe torrents or whatever. Those gaming fans probably are seeing the same things exactly that we're seeing. That it's nothing more than a carbon copy of what came before. You take a look at Battle of Angel Island, and Battle of Angel Island is nothing more than Panic in the Sky, if not Worlds Unite combined. That's all it is. Everybody could see what the outcome's going to be. They could all see possibly what the resolution's going to be. I mean, I will give Ian Flynn credit. You know, he does tend to throw a curveball once in a while into the fray just to throw us off or to make things seem more original than what they're copying or what they're redoing or remaking in their own image. He does intend to do that. And if he does that here, fine. But what's the curveball going to be? Is it going to be him doing another Genesis wave, but this time in the IDW comic? And what is that going to mean after issue 12? Is that Genesis wave just going to wipe everything else that came before out of existence? And then issue 13 is going to start off in Knothole Village or in New Mobotropolis, and like out of nowhere, there's Sally and there's Bunny greeting Sonic, Amy, and Tails? Is that what it's going to be? Issue 13 is going to be just basically another soft retcon reboot after a Genesis wave takes place at the end of issue 12? And suddenly, like I said, there's New Mobotropolis, and here comes Sally Acorn and Bunny Rabbit and Rotor and Dulcie, all greeting Sonic, Amy, and Tails, and Blaze and Rouge, and maybe even Tangle and Whisper if you want to keep them into the story arc. Is that what's going to happen? Is that the way you're going to bring in the Freedom Fighters? Is that how you're going to do it? If you're going to do it that way, then what was the point of even doing these first 12 issues? I mean, I get the fact you want to do a follow-up on Sonic Forces. But newsflash, I might enjoy Sonic Forces. Some other people might enjoy Sonic Forces. But it's got one of the most mixed reactions any Sonic game has ever had. And that's the truth. It's gotten one of the biggest mixed reactions in recent memory. And yet you want to do a follow-up on that? Okay, fine. But still, I think what a lot of fans have been... Honestly, I think what a lot of fans want from you, Ian Flynn, and IDW, and those in charge of the comic, is to be truthful with them. You say the door is open. Why not utilize it? Why didn't you utilize it at the beginning? I mean, you could have still gone this route if you wanted to, but instead of introducing characters that are basically from a body design structure, if you will, very similar to certain other characters. Like you take a look at Tangle, and her head and facial structure is similar to Sally's. Maybe her body structure is the same way. Whisper, she may not be half robotic, but she uses a weapon that depending on the kind of wisp that she uses can change power, can change maybe shape to utilize whatever power she needs. Very similar to Bunny Rabbit in her cybernetic arm changing to fit whatever situation is needed. So if you're going to do all that, and you're going to give them these personalities, I mean, you're going to give them, what I'm saying is if you're going to do that, and you're going to give them these different kind of personality quirks, fine, but why not just bring in the characters people are established with already? I mean, if you're going to make Tangle the lemur basically the Amy Rose of the group, why didn't you just make Amy Rose be Amy Rose? If you're going to turn Amy Rose into Sally Acorn, why didn't you just bring in Sally Acorn? You get what I'm saying, right? And then, like I said, you take a look at design and facial structure, and some people may disagree, but is it just me, or does Whisper not feel like she's the bunny rabbit of the group, minus the cybernetics? I'm just saying there's just too many similarities to go unaccounted for. There's just too many. There's too many out there, guys. And again, when you look at Battle of Angel Island, even the first part, it's pretty much Worlds Unite and Panic in the Sky combined. That's all it is. I mean, Matt himself, and again, maybe it's just me, but hearing the uneasiness in his voice when he did the comparisons, even he's starting to see it. Even he, someone that I've been a fan of for a while, and I'm sure a lot of people have been a fan of for a while. One of the true blues Sonic fans out there. Even he's starting to see, in my opinion, even he's starting to see the similarities and comparisons. And I'm pretty sure even he will be wondering, if not has already wondered, why not just bring in characters we know of? If you're going to go this route, why not just bring in characters that we know of? You have the rights to them, or basically IDW, Ian Flynn, you guys have the rights to use them, use them. And if you know that someone that's ahead of Sonic Team Japan, of Sega of Japan of all people, is a fan of them, why not utilize them? Like I said, if you know, and you probably have heard, that Stars and Encore have decided to renew Sonic SatAM up to November 30th, 2020. If you know that's happening, and you know that in a sense it's the 25th anniversary of Sonic SatAM, the very show that if it wasn't for this show, despite what people may say, this comic, the Sonic comics wouldn't have been as noticeable or put on the map as they were. I mean, if you know all this, then why not utilize it right then and there? Why not take what's at your disposal and utilize it? Again, what's going to happen? What's going to be the ending, the resolution to this 4-part arc? Are we going to have another Genesis wave, like I said? Are you going to decide, Ian Flynn, I need to get out of this situation. What can I do? Oh, I know. Another Genesis wave. Whoop! And then come issue 13, all of a sudden we see another White Inn, and now they're a new Mobotropolis? You can't do that. Because that's nothing more than a weak excuse to get out of a situation. And another thing, I know some people will point out that this happens in comics all the time, and I'm not saying they don't. But you're already building up to something that feels like it's a finale for the series. The Battle of Angel Island, it feels like the finale to the series. I mean, if you're going to do a Battle of Angel Island, that's fine. But don't you want to use more? Don't you want to have more time to build towards it? I'm just saying. Don't you want more time to develop the newer characters, the relationships between these characters, this and that? Maybe build upon the fact that Eggman may be faking his amnesia. I mean, come on. The only reason you decided to go this route is because you probably have seen that the sales are failing, and you know that maybe going the route you guys have done was probably not the best idea. So that's why you're probably doing this. I could be wrong. But why all of a sudden are we doing what feels like a freaking finale arc, and we're not even in the double digits yet of issues? I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying, it's just, If this isn't any evidence that things need to change at IDW with the Sonic comic, I do not know what does. Ian Flynn and anybody else in charge of the Sonic comics, or anybody else in charge of the Sonic comics at IDW, please listen. You have these other characters at your disposal. I and a lot of other people understand you want to appeal to the gaming fans first so that you have an established audience before you go in another direction. Fine. But guess what? If even the gaming fans are starting to notice those similarities, then perhaps maybe you need not to do them. Maybe what you need to do, IDW, and this is the truth, maybe what you need to do, Ian Flynn, IDW, and anybody else that will listen, maybe what you need to do is start listening to the fans that help make the Sonic comics what they were. Listen to what they have to say and go from there. If your plan is to do a Genesis wave to wipe out everything that came before, also that you can actually establish, hey, here's the freedom fighters, then it'll be great to see them, but you know what? Some people will say what they've said before, it's a dumb cop-out. It'll be a stupid cop-out if you do that, and what you need to do is not do it. What you need to do is end issue 12 with them being victorious, them going their separate ways, and then you have Sonic, Tails, and Amy go back to Knothole, or back to New Mobotropolis, and then you go from there. And if that's what you're planning to do, fine. Great, more power to you. But if you decide to go the Genesis Wave route, then you know that you put yourself in a situation that's a no-win situation. Because quite frankly, folks, as I said at the beginning, if this Battle of Angel Island first part isn't any evidence of everything, of all the carbon copiness that we have talked about and said, and mentioned, if it isn't a crescendo and a culmination of all the familiarity, similarity, and identificationing that we've talked about, I don't know what is. Because like I said, you take someone like Tangle, you put Amy Rose's fangirl personality in her. You take someone like Amy Rose, you keep a little bit of her personality, but you mostly put Sally's personality in her. Because let me ask you this. When did Amy Rose ever become a strategist? A leader-like strategist? Never. Point is, guys, fans, they're not stupid. This is an insult to the fans. It's a slap in the face. You're basically spitting and alienating your fans. And if you want a good idea of how this probably feels for us longtime Sonic fans, I advise you to check out Fame and Misfortune review by Josh Scorcher, the Fiery Joker. Check out his review on YouTube. Check out any review of Fame and Misfortune. Check the Watchful Pony and Lightning Bliss's collab on it. Check out After the Fact Get a Life video by Silver Quill. And just by watching those, and even though those are My Little Pony Friendship is Magic related, you listen to what they have to say on what Fame and Misfortune turned out to be, and you'll kind of see how it, in a sense, relates to what's going on right now with the Sonic comics, and how we feel about what's been going on, and how Battle for Angel Island Part 1 is just the beginning of the culmination and crescendoing of what we've already looked at as similarity, identificationing, and similarity and familiarity of characters of the previous comic and stuff like that. So that's all I'm going to really say, guys, before I start going into a rant. So let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. I'll talk to you all later.